Hello, welcome back to the class. And today we will talk about North Korea. What comes to in your mind when you think about North Korea? Probably many negative things, right? So you probably have many negative ideas about North Korea. But how did you know about those facts? Maybe from biased Western media, right? Or also maybe you got some information from YouTube, like and shocking facts about North Korea, something like this. And also, like North Koreans believe that Kim Jong Il invented hamburger, and they have only few hairstyles for people in hair salon, something like that. Yeah, I cannot say all of those are wrong, but I can say that those information are actually not that reliable. It's not from the credible sources. Yeah. And also about the hamburger, actually, this burger stop was started from 2014. There was a French photographer who visited North Korea, and the university student guided him. So they talked in French or English. I think in English, yeah. And this university student said claim that the Kim Jong Il invented hamburger in 2009, something like that. But that was that's the only source that they found about this. So I don't think North Korea officially claims that that their super leader invented hamburger or something like that. But the media somewhat exaggerated about this kind of thing. I think this university student was just a bit stupid. But the media started to say that whole North Korea believes that hamburger was invented by their leader. But anyways, so I assigned two classes for North Korea, and for this week is understanding of North Korea. So this week I will try to cover about the official position of North Korea. So it's more from like perspective of North Korea. So it will be maybe more interesting for you because you haven't heard what they're really saying. Okay, so yeah, I will give the general information about North Korea first, and then explain about the North Korean ideologies and brief history of North Korea from 1948 till now, and also North Korean position on nuclear weapons. Why do they develop nuclear weapons, and why they think it is not against the international law? Before we start, let's see the propaganda flyer from 2017. Because my mom, this is the Kakao Talk. Kakao Talk is a Korean messenger, and she shared this in 2017, October 31st. And she said she found this in the mountain. And here says, uh, thanks to the thanks to the great leading of Workers' Party, reputation of North Korea is shining. And this one says, uh, with Kim Jong-un supreme leader, Workers' Party never lose, something like that. Before before 1990s, uh, both North Korea and South Korea uh, tried to, I mean, secretly through the propaganda flyer like this. But even now, there's a propaganda flyer like this. But this propaganda flyer from 2017 seems like it's produced by South Koreans actually, because the quality of papers are really good. And yes, really very few people, but there are some pro North Korean government people in South Korea. I also will cover about them next week. Maybe we can see about the flyers from 1970s or 80s. So yeah, this is the propaganda flyer. And when we see here, this is the propaganda flyer from South Korea. So they just distribute those, not distribute, like throw away in the DMZ, demilitarized zone between South and North. And it says, is your military life hard? Don't worry, I will solve the problem. And it says, this flyer is the safety assurance certificate. And also, run for 5 minutes to the land of freedom. Yeah, like this. So when North Koreans see this flyer, it seems like if they run for just 5 minutes, then they can get real freedom with this pretty woman. So yeah, because North Korean soldiers are mostly men, the South Korean government sent this kind of flyers on the DMZ, demilitarized zone. Yeah. And also North Korea, vice versa as well. But North Koreans didn't send this kind of sexy ones that much. Yeah, maybe I can Google North Korea flyer. Well, they usually just explain about their ideologies, you know. Hmm. Yes. Yeah, let's fight for the peace and the reunification of the country. Mm. Okay. Then, but the now the each governments, both governments, agreed that they will not send any propaganda flyers anymore. So there is no governmental level propaganda flyers anymore, but some civil organization in South Korea sometimes send propaganda flyers. So, um, so they send the flyers like this. It's from civil organization in South Korea, and they usually send US dollars and also USB or DVD, you know. Like, do you know the movie Interview from the United States? They also send that kind of DVD. Okay. Mhm. And also, before we start, let's see the relations between Estonia and North Korea. How is it now? As I said before, there's no diplomatic relations between Estonia and North Korea. There are only two countries in European Union which does not have diplomatic relations with North Korea, and one is France and one is Estonia, surprisingly. But in the past, it seems like the relations between Estonia and North Korea were really special. So you can see Meya e luba sida, which means that we do not allow war. Clearly, strong SD Naine, strong Estonian woman, claims that. And you can see peace-loving socialist states flags, Chinese flags, Soviet Union flags, North Korean flags, and Polish flags and Hungarian flags. Like, and also, Elago Rahu Ravaste Bahev, live peacefully with all people. Also, so also it seems like she is Estonian, woman, but she's with this little Asian boy, North Korean boy, probably. Yeah. And you also can see North Korean flags and uh, East Germany flag as well. I took this. I took the picture of them from Wabamu uh, museum. Yeah, back then it was a occupation museum. Yeah, so they had quite interesting posters. Yeah, so I took the picture of it. So yeah, then and also let's see the map. Uh, just- so as you know, there's a border between south and north in here, and this is DMZ, demilitarized zone. Yeah, but this is the most militarized zone actually. And also, North Korea has a border with Russia and China as well. And as you know, there are many powerful countries in Northeast Asia. So technically, South Korea is kind of island, just like Japan, because South South Korean citizens cannot pass through here. For me, it's still kind of amazing thing that I can travel to foreign country by bus or train. And this is general information about North Korea. Official name of North Korea is Democratic People's Republic of Korea. The short version is DPRK, and there are 25 million people in North Korea. And the capital city is Pyongyang, and there are 2.5 million people there. Still, only in the capital city, there are two times more people than here in Estonia. And language is Korean. Many people ask me about the language, but yeah, language is totally same. All we were divided in 1945, so language is not that different. We can understand each other almost everything. Maybe I can say 99%. Yeah, but of course, North Koreans use the words that we don't use that much, and mostly that those are aggressive words. Yeah, and area is 1.2 times larger than South Korean one, and the government is one party system, Workers' Party of Korea, and ideology is 주체 ideology. Uh, and I also said Kim Il Sungism. Actually, Kim Il Sungism, which is named after their first leader. Uh, this is more broader concept than 주체 ideology. So 주체 ideology is one of the thoughts to achieve Kim Il Sungism. Yeah, and policy is military first policy. We will cover about those ideologies and policy now. So, what is 주체 ideology? 주체 ideology can be translated to self-reliance ideology, and 주체 means independent or autonomous. Yeah, if I directly translate it, it means that uh, person, each person, all person is the master of her or his destiny. And because you're the master of your body, you don't listen to others' order at all, and you live your independent life. So this is about individuals. See the society. Historically, people were oppressed by the ruling class. The world is in the last stage of oppression, capitalism at the moment. Before that, there was a slavery, and also during the medieval time, there was a caste system. Also, Estonia suffered from German nobles, back then. And now it's the last stage of oppression, capitalism. It's until now, so far, it's exactly same with the socialist ideology. But Thanks to great leaders' guidance, North Korea could maintain the complete liberation from American imperialism and capitalism. Yeah. So, uh, this is the different things from the typical socialist ideology. So, uh, how North Korea thinks about Russia and China? Because North Korea firstly think Russia as a corrupted country. Before there was a Soviet Union, they were a socialist country like North Korea, but they gave up the socialism. So they are a corrupted country. And also China, although China has a how to say has a form of socialism, actual form is capitalism. They have a one party system, but still they accepted capitalism since 1990s. So North Korea also think China as a fake socialist society. So, but still, Russia and North Korea is a ally for like strong and important allies for them. But they think North Korea is the only country which has the true socialist society until now. Yeah. So individuals in North Korea should work hard to liberate South Korea first. So South Korea is quite special, how to say, special country for North Koreans as well, because South Koreans are at the moment they are oppressed by Americans. You know that there is a U.S. army in South Korea. Is the one of the evidence that South Korea is the colony of United States, and North Korea need to free South Korea first from this oppression from the US imperialism. Yeah. And how to say, North Koreans also somewhat knows that South Koreans are maybe economically better than North Koreans does, but that's not true um, independent country. Yeah. So yeah, they think we are kind of like fat, whereas they are starving, hungry Socrates, something like that. Yeah, and also as you can see from the propaganda poster, their ideology should be not only for North Koreans but also for white people, black people, Asians, and Latino. So North Koreans has a responsible for this to spread this ideology to the world, to free the world, people in the world from the oppression of capitalism. I'm saying that that's their official ideology. I'm not saying that I agree with this point. I don't need to say this, right? And in the perspective of diplomatic relations with Soviet Union and China, Juche ideology gives these principles. First one is political self-reliance. Second one is economic self-sufficiency. Third one is military self-defense. During the Cold War time, or in the early stage of Cold War, the communist bloc was quite strong. Back then, they didn't emphasize those principles that much. But since 1950s, in the middle of 1950s, there was a Sino-Soviet split between Soviet Union and China because of the difference of the ideological path. Yeah, the relations between Soviet Union and China went bad back then. So many socialist states needed to choose the side between Soviet Union and China. But North Koreans, they didn't choose the side, but they developed their own ideology back then. Yeah. So this was the beginning of the unique North Korean socialism. Anti-foreign, nationalist, socialism, and idolization of the leader. So let's see about the idolization of the leader. To consolidate the regime, North Korean government have deified a leader as a living god. Let's see the video. This video is from 2003, when there was a peace mood between North Korea and South Korea during the liberal regime in South Korea. North Korean sent cheerleaders to some games in South Korea.
지난 2003년
They are cheerleaders from North Korea, and it's from 2003.
대구 세계 유니버시아드 대회 때의 일입니다. 이 당시 북한 미녀 응원단이 눈길을 끌었었죠. 그런데 갑자기 버스가 서더니 미녀 응원 단원들이 내려서 뛰기 시작합니다.
우리 장군님이 육상 이용대 못했나 보십시오. 왜? 경양 김정일 장군님이 육상 이용대 못했나 좀 보십시오. 이렇게 썩은 통남에다가 어떻게 먹습니까?
이들이 본 것은 김대중 전 대통령과 김정일 위원장의 사진이 인쇄된 플래카드였습니다.
어제도 비가 오고 오늘도 비가 오는데 대책이 안 세지는 것 같습니다.
Yeah. There was a rain yesterday, and the pictures got rain. There was no umbrella for these pictures.
우리 장관님 영상이 젖어준단 말입니다. 우리 이걸 보고 절대로 그냥 갈 수 없습니다. 우리 하늘의 태양을 이런데가 멋있는 놈이 어디 있나 정말.
결국 플래카드를 떼어내서 사진이 접히지 않도록 그야말로 모셔갑니다.
Yeah, and also they cannot roll this, because how could they roll their supreme leader? So this is like quite extreme case of idolization. Yeah, I mean, if they said the party's right or the ideology is right, maybe it makes sense. But how can they idolize a person, individual like this? It's actually quite similar to the region. Yeah, I mean religion. Yeah. And actually, if you analyze North Korea in the perspective of religion or cult, then there are many things which make sense. Yeah. But about this, many people think that all North Koreans actually fake about their beliefs. But actually, I don't think so. Probably, I think half and half, something like that. I think half of people really believes that their leader is the living God. But I think half of people just don't like it, but they just don't say anything about it. It's quite similar to, I think it can be compared to the military regime during 1970s and 80s in South Korea. Because although the government oppressed the society, they think it was for good things, and many people really loved the president. And when Park Chung-hee was shot by his men in 1979, many people actually cried. Some people faked the crying, but actually they cried. My mom was she was in middle school, yeah, back then. So all the classroom cried. My mom didn't cry, but her classmates said, how could she said her classmate blamed her that how could she not cry for his death. Yeah. And she said my mom is like doesn't have an emotion at all, something like that. Many people actually really loved their previous leader. I think in North Korean situation is somewhat also similar because they were brainwashed so much. Some people really believe that their leader is the living God and really follow their leader. And also direct guidance policy. Since North Korea is governed by the great leader, all matters, every single matters should be directly guided by the leader. Let's also watch the video. I made subtitles for you. This film is from North Korean TV. Yeah, real North Korean TV. You can see the logo here, Joseon TV. And this was filmed in 2020 January, so only 3 months ago.
아동백화점에서 제일 붐비는 매대는 아마도 여기 학용품에 될 것입니다. 소나무 책가방이 우리 학용품들을 한가득 채우는 이들의 행복한 모습. 이 현실 속에는 평양 아동백화점을 아이들을 위한 백화점으로 손색 없이 꾸려주시려 바쳐가신 경의하는 최고령도자 김정은 동지의 로고가 뜨겁게 깃들어 있습니다.
So let's see what Kim Jong-un did for this department store. Yeah, and the title is The Pen in Pyongyang Children's Department Store.
여기 백화점 혁명사적 교양실에 보존돼 있는 이 원주필은 우리 본수님께서 몸소 종이에 써보시며 그 질을 가늠해 보신 원주필입니다.
2012년 7월 2일 우리 백화점을 찾아오신 경의하는 원수님께서 여기 학용품에 대해 들으셨을 때였습니다.
So she even remembers the date, exact date. It was already 8 years ago.
그때 원수님께서 학습장에 쿠리형도 구워보시고 쿠리형의 질도 가늠하시며 학습장도 보아주셨습니다. 그때 판면이 흰 종이로 만든 학습장을 보여드렸는데 원수님께서 저쪽 구석에 있는 학습장도 보자고 하셨습니다. 그때
Yeah, he checked all the notebooks which were even in the corner of the shop.
그 학습장의 질이 좋지 못했습니다. 그래서 아무 말씀 없으시던 원수님께서는 학습장의 질이 좋지 못하다고 그림 종이에 표기된 이 그림도 한 가지 색으로 인쇄하였는데 여러 가지 색으로 다양하게 해야 한다고 말씀하셨습니다. 그래서 이렇게 학습장 매대를 다 돌아보신 경의하는 원수님께서 연필 매대 옷이었습니다. 판면이 그때 온주필을 얼렸는데 그래서 원수님께서는 종이에 온주필도 써보셨습니다. 그래서 온주필이 잘 내리는 것을 보시고 번뇌 기뻐하신 원수님께서는 이 온주필이 가격이 누고서 이 학생들이 잘 사간다는데 평양 수지연필 공장에서 수지연필과 온주필을 많이 생산해서 평양 아동백화점에 보내서 학생들에게 팔아줘야 한다고 말씀하셨습니다.
So he liked his pen. He checked by himself, yeah, and then he ordered that. Okay, so let's produce more of these pens and supply to the department stores in North Korea, something like that. He gave direct guidance for every single matters like this, even about the pen, how to produce, what to produce, and how to distribute.
우리 아이들이 쓴 학용품의 질을 하나하나 가늠해 보시며 세심한 정을 기울이신 경의하는 본수. 진정 그 모습은 평양 아동백화점의 위치를 경치 좋은 경상권에 잡아주시던 오보이 수령님의 모습 그대로였고.
So his father, Kim Jong-un's father, Kim Jong-il, he made this department store, and he also decided the location of the place. And the TV show says, like just like his father, he takes care of children so much,
아이들에게 필요한 것은 무엇이나 다 있어야 한다시며 상품 보장 대책까지 세워주시던 우리 장군님의 모습 그대로였습니다. 위대한 수령님들의 묘문을 받들어 우리 아이들에게 세상에서 제일 훌륭한 것만을 안겨주고 싶으시여 귀중한 시간을 바치시면서 백화점의 여러 것을 쓰니 정녕 그 혼신 속에는
I didn't translate. Yeah, the same shit. Yeah, and funny thing is, this girl is writing 강성 조선, which means strong Korea. Yeah, they even say ask them to write like this. Okay, so things cannot be go wrong, because the living God gives direct guidance for every single things. So things cannot go wrong in North Korea. And also, let's see some posters. Left one is poster came from Estonia. 떼남의 술 달리닛 넬리쿠 랍세플베 est. So thanks to we thank to great Stalin for our happy childhood. Yeah, and also the poster down. This comes from North Korea from 2000s. It says our general is the best. Yeah, I think the quality is much better. I mean, the quality of the poster Estonian one is much better than the Korean one, although there's a 50 years of gap. And then 선군 policy, military first policy. This policy prioritized the Korean People's Army in the affairs of state and allocation of resources. The North Korea felt threatened when the US, Japan, South Korea security alliance formed after the diplomatic normalization between Seoul and Tokyo in 1965. Since then, North Korea began to stress a defense policy. The defense budget abruptly increased to 30% of the total national budget in 1971. This stalled the economic growth rate. They put so much resources to military. That's why the people's life is miserable. Yeah. Let's go to the brief history of North Korea. As you know, there was occupation of Korea by two powers, the US and the Soviet Union. The US drew a line at the 38th parallel as an occupation boundary between the US and Soviet Union in August, and because Japan surrendered earlier than expected, the Soviet Union had no more excuse to advance further onto the peninsula. So I think if the US didn't bomb Japan with atomic bomb, nuclear weapon, I think maybe the Soviet Union occupied whole Korean peninsula and maybe there was no division at least. Yeah. But maybe we were from communist side. Yeah. But just like Estonia, yeah. I was born in 1991, so I probably have haven't hadn't experienced the communist society anyways. So I think yeah, there's no if in history, but yeah. Anyways, Kim Il-sung, the first leader of North Korea, he was an independent guerrilla leader during the colonial period, and he became a major in the Soviet Red Army and served for it until the end of the Pacific War in 1945. And since December 1945, he became the de facto leader of North Korea under the support of the Soviet Union. Yeah, Kim Jong-un's grandfather. Yeah. And establishment of two governments. After the general election in southern part of Korea, because northern part of Korea refused to have a general election, you remember, yeah, the Republic of Korea was proclaimed on the 15th of August in 1948. And then North Korea also proclaimed the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. The new government of the DPRK was launched on 9th of September in 1948. headed by Kim Il-sung as premier. And there was a Korean War as North Korea invaded South Korea. After 3 years of war, both Koreas had heavy casualties. Both Koreas also faced economical difficulties. North Korea faced a tremendous task of rebuilding a smashed infrastructure and resuming the construction of its vision of a socialist society. Yeah. And purges of four factions in the Workers' Party. The North Korea chose one party ruling state from the beginning, and so there was only one party, Workers' Party. But it doesn't mean that there was no factions. So there were like four main big factions: Soviet faction, uh, which got trained from Soviet Union during the Japanese colonial period, and Chinese faction, uh, North Koreans who also got the training from Chinese during the Japanese colonial period, and South Korean Communist faction. There was an attempt to establish southern part of Korea uh, to the communist society, but they failed because of the U.S. So South Korean communists uh, escaped to North Korea after they failed. So it was a third faction, and last faction was a former guerrillas faction. So Kim Il Sung was belonged to this former guerrillas faction, and they got the power. Yeah. So those years next to the factions are the year that they were purged. Yeah. So the North Korean Workers' Party declared that it had finished all conflicts within itself in 1958. Since then, the North Korean government and the Korean Workers' Party came under the sole direction of Kim Il-sung and his Manchurian guerrilla faction. And economical growth. Soon after the war, North Korea almost restored its entire economy through its 3-year plan with the help of the Soviet Union and China. By 1958, socialist reforms at various levels of production, both in cities and rural areas, were completed. However, because of the inefficiency of the agricultural collectivization and the industrial rationalization, so this is because of the communism. Even if people work hard, they will get the same amount of ration. So people don't have any motivation for hard working. Yeah. And also the extreme self-sufficiency of the Juche ideology. North Korea had limits on the development. And as I said, because North Korea did not want to dependent on Soviet Union or other communist countries, they didn't trade that much with other countries. Like communism is not the theory which stops the trade with the foreign countries. And also during the Cold War period, there was a big communist bloc. North Korea should have had the trade with those countries, but they didn't do that much trade under the name of self-sufficiency. That's why it didn't develop that much. There was a limit. And as you can see, until the middle of 1970s, the economical situation between South and North are actually not that different. Yeah, but since 1970s, the gap became too big. Yeah, now is even not comparable. I will stop from here and continue from next video. Bye.